All right, guys, welcome back to another great episode of Basscast Radio. I am Brian, your host, and above me, guys, if you're watching on the video, is Hank the Bass Geek. What's happening, everybody?
What's going on, guys? Just another day. Like I always say, man, living the grind, living the grind. Pumped out a video yesterday talking about some November and December topwater. Believe it or not, guys, there's still topwater and to be had, and you can catch some big ones doing it with a
Very
certain
true.
bait.
Yeah, guys, talking about his video, we got Winter Bassin by kayak angler Justin Largan got uploaded today. 7 must-have bass fishing baits by Jason Bradstreet. And Mr. Derek Hudson put up one. If you haven't had a chance yet, I want to find his in a second. I'm scrolling through our brand new website here. If you haven't had a chance to head over to the website, check out what's new. 5 lures you must throw after Thanksgiving in Central United States by Mr. Derek Hudson. Guys, if you haven't had a chance to head on over to the Basscast and check out all the great stories that we have up. I did say 7 must-have winter baits too, didn't I? I don't know. We're talking winter. It's on the basscast.com. If you haven't had a chance to go check out the brand new website, we appreciate if you head on over there. Tell us your thoughts. Give us your opinions. We are still reinstating links on Facebook, Instagram. We're starting to get a little bit more blessings returned from Facebook. I want to thank all of you guys for signing up for band. We've gotten, I think it's 34 members signed up for band so far.
Nice, and I still have to do that. I have been swamped, so I
It's all good.
apologize.
I'm still sending out the links and people still requesting because, it's like Facebook. You get your own page, but you post on the basscast.com, or you can find other groups because that's what it is. It's for a group.
Nice.
And the cool thing about it is we're going to be talking about nothing but bass fishing. That's all you're going to see posted. Either see comments from me, posts from me, or pictures from Bruce. Bass Geek can share his videos there, share pics, whatever. And then we can go to Bass Geek's page and then check out all the stuff he's done posted over the last month, year, et cetera, et cetera. So, and the cool and the best thing about it is it's owned by me. It's owned by us. And as it grows, we're going to have admins because people have to kind of watch over it and all that stuff, just like Facebook. But I'll be honest, guys, we get a couple thousand out of it. I'll be happy as crap. I mean, it'd be core people who follow the basscast.com, and Basscast Radio has its own page as well.
Nice.
And like I said, for those who are not a fan of the regular 3 social media platforms, but still like keeping up with what's happening in the world of bass fishing, or just want to talk to you can message your friends on there too. I mean, get your friend to sign up. You guys can chat back and forth. You can go live. Well, you can't go live. I'm the only one who can go live. But you can do everything else that you can do on the other 3 platforms on band. And I posted the link in our Basscast show Facebook page. And I think we're up to about 700 members in that.
Heck yeah.
So thank you guys.
That's pretty awesome.
Yes. Thank you guys for all being a part of that. Also, this weekend, guys, is the Basscast Championship. Someone's going to take home. It's over $1,000 in the pot.
Nice.
There's the Cat Championship Classic, whatever they're calling their deal, is this Sunday as well. And so it's quite busy on top of wrapping up and building a brand new website here. And guys, please bear with us. Yargi.
Yeah, I got something in my eye. Sorry.
So on top of building a brand new website right here at the end of the year, which guys, please bear with us, because with like anything, when you migrate over to something new, you're going to find some broken links. You're going to find some pictures that need to be edited or whatever he's going to have to do, because this one we had built. So there's going to be a lot of updates and a lot of things you guys see changing over the next few months. And hopefully ain't much, because there's a ribbon cutting for our kayak sponsors on June the 14th. I just got notified of. So there is going to be, I am not going to be home very long. There's going to be December and 2 weeks, and we're back on the road. So that's all I know, man. It's good. It's going to be another crazy year. I was looking at dates already, and our dates are, oh, yes. Our dates for the 2023 Bass Cast Tournament Series have been approved. For you guys who are listening to that, I'm going to put it up on the website this weekend because I want to kind of wait and let everybody prepay and get everything taken. Might even do it tomorrow. No, it ain't going to happen tomorrow because I'm bowling. So it's going to happen either probably the weekend, definitely be the weekend, because I want to get this event knocked out of the book. So before we talk to our guests tonight, which guys, we have local angler from Liberty University. He ain't from anymore because he's graduated, but Mr. Jack Dice is on with us tonight. We're going to talk about the Yamamoto bait, the Yama Craw, and we're going to talk about the 2022 season, thoughts on 2023, and we're going to throw some winter bass fishing in there as well. And we're going to talk about jigs, and we're going to talk about that trailer, the Yama Craw, to go on the back of your jig.
Mm.
So we're going to just, I'm probably going to let Geek take over for a little while.
I don't know about all that.
I ain't going to lie. But before we get started, we want to thank our sponsors for an awesome 2022 season. Conrad Brothers Marine, Lynchburg Arms and Indoor Shooting Range, WW Novelty, Angler's Choice Marine, the Bass Tank, Missile Baits. Want to thank John Cruz, guys. I think he did not miss but one, maybe two, but he fished all the rest. And SML Tackle Shack. Want to thank them for being a part of us. Right there, when you make the left to go to Crazy Horse Marina, for all you guys who are fishing the two big bass events that have never been to Smith Mountain Lake, that is the place to go. They can fix your tips, work on your rods, build you a new rod, and he's got all the latest baits that you need to find a big bass on Smith Mountain Lake. Now, if you catch it, good luck to you. But he knows what people are buying. He knows what's biting, and that's what he's carrying in his store. And he does really, really well during the Big Bass Tour. So, and last but not least, guys, want to thank Wildland Coffee. This tea bag is in his cup tonight. It's been one of those days. Do you ever wish your morning coffee on the lake or river was easier and better tasting, guys? How frustrating it is when you have to use a French press and you have to clean up, or God forbid, you drink instant coffee. That's why Wildland Coffee exists. Solve those problems. Wildland Coffee is a proud supporter of the podcast, and I am stoked to support them. Wildland Coffee puts delicious, freshly ground coffee into tea bags. That's right. You might be thinking, that can't be good. Hear me out, though. It tastes great, guys. I ain't gonna lie. It tastes just like a French press, but it is in the ease of a tea bag. All you need is hot water, and you have an amazing cup of coffee with no mess or cleanups. Use Bass Cast 10. You guys hear Bass Cast 10 to get 10% off your first order at wildlandcoffee.co. Want to appreciate them for being a part of Basscast Radio. As you guys all know, throw us out there. I've got Discount Tackle. If you want to save some money, and if you want to help support the Basscast, we'd love to have you. I've been throwing the affiliate links all up over social media. And our brother Bass Geek up there has got the other one.
Tackle Warehouse.
That's right.
And you can go to my website, and I think under media and links, there is a Tackle Warehouse link in there.
So if you like to support either one of us, or support both of us, I mean, you buy a little bit through one, buy a little bit through the other, however you want to do it. We would love to have you. And I know, I mean, I ain't gonna lie. I mean, we all know Tackle Warehouse King. I think I heard they have like 75,000 products. But our boys with Discount Tackle, they're under new management. They got a lot of stuff happening. They got about 50,000 products. So, I mean, they're neck and neck. Yes, you're going to find some. Yes, you're neck. Yeah, it's going to be one of those things where if you don't find it on discount, hey, head on over and support Mr. Geek right there. And it helps all of us right here, keep the lights on.
It does.
thebasscast.com.
There ain't no doubt about that.
All right, guys, we're going to be right back with Mr. Jack Dice. Brother Jack Dice, welcome back to the show. I was flipping back, I talked earlier about the brand new website going up, and we do have a section on there for Basscast Radio now. And I was going back through old shows and looking back how long has it been since we actually talked?
How long? We talked this year.
We have talked.
It was actually this year.
Yeah.
We have talked this year. Yes.
He was in his truck.
Yeah, I was in my truck in Winyah Bay.
That's right.
Sweating a lot.
So now he's back at the crib. It's winter time, guys. Well, I don't know. It kind of was springish around here today, but it actually got pretty daggone nice. But the last couple of days, it's been some pretty heavy hoodie time.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
I don't mind hoodie weather. I don't mind hoodie weather. Don't get me wrong. I don't mind hoodie. I'll take that over the sweating any day. Any day.
Yeah.
So I was all right with it.
See, I'm even a fat boy, but I'm the exact opposite. Like, I don't like cold weather. I'd rather it be like 100.
Really?
I'll go out in the middle of a day, ledge fish at like 2 and 3 o'clock, no wind. I'm like, yeah, this is great. I'm just poor. I'm sweating gravy.
Oh man. See, I can't. My problem is, to be honest, I get sweaty in certain areas that are not ideal. And
that's when Gerald Swindell.
All right, we're getting live right here. We're getting the dude wipes. I forgot about
the dude wipes.
Yeah, so dude wipes, hit us up.
Dang.
Oh man.
All right, let's dive into this thing here, guys. Let's talk about Jack Dice in 2022. Like I said, very good year. Let's talk about the highs. Let's hit the highs, the lows, and what you learned from 2022. Let's start with the highs first.
Yeah, if the problem is we got to hit highs and lows, because
all right, well, let's hit it together.
Because here's the thing, in fishing, it's like, if you on social, when you're, at least my perspective is, I mean, this is the social media age in general, is that we see the highs, and that's what you feed off of. But man, like, my experience has been that if you just ride that wears you down quick, because you just think it's always, grass is always greener. Someone's always catching them better than you are. And not to say I'm not I've had some, some highs this year that I'm very thankful for, but like this sport, man, it'll eat you alive. And I remember there were,
I'll give that an amen.
Yeah. And there's just, I can think specifically, when I first started fishing tournaments, I didn't know a lot of people around here that fished. Like, I didn't know people. It took me, fishing and getting to actually get to know people.
Right.
So before that, I didn't have conversations with people. But as I got to know people, you'd start to have conversations like before the tournament, and you start hearing, this guy said he had 20 pounds yesterday, and this guy had, and you just start eating away at you like, oh my gosh, I've never done that ever. Yeah. And the tournament's tomorrow. But more often than not, you just got to do your own deal. And that's not a tournament by tournament basis, but also just fishing in general for me. Right. So I just try to take that into everything, in that you really want to try to take the lows as pieces of learning experience, because they truly can be. Mm-hmm. Not just tell you. It's one thing to just tell yourself, oh, I need to learn from this. Like, usually, there's you didn't do as well as you could have. There are actual reasons, especially the real low ones. And then the high ones, you take that and store that away for those days when you're like, man, I haven't had a bite today. It's like, well, at least one time I had a bite. At least one time I did. So I was very thankful for that. Really, for me this year, had more, I guess you could say, highs and lows. To me, high is if I'm cashing a check, if someone's handing me a check for fishing, that's a high. So I had in the BFL series I fished, I've done 2 different avenues. I've kind of done, in tournament fishing, I've taken kind of 2 different trails. Some people choose one over the other. I've kind of done both in my, in these, initial years of fishing tournaments. I fished BFLs, local series, fishing against local anglers, the guys who know these bodies of water well. And I fished the college series. So I get to travel around and fish against people my age who are at my experience level, but it's also more national in this. So it's kind of a weird, hybrid. And I've loved that because I've gotten to experience a little bit. I feel like a little bit of everything. So the college deal, though, they don't pay you. So from that perspective, college fishing is terrible because they don't pay you a dime.
Yeah.
But
you get those bragging rights. Where's that NIL for the bass clubs and college clubs? Where's that NIL deal?
That's exactly what we need. Something like that. Unfortunately, I think you and I both know this fishing world's a little too small for that. But
yeah,
But the one good thing about the college fishing, though, it does put you on that stage.
It does.
I mean, and I guess that's what they kind of look at it for, is that, they do give, if you win, you do get some scholarship money. What is it? I think you get the opportunity of winning a boat.
It just depends event to
and
event.
It just depends on the different event. But the whole thing about it is Jack's up on stage, and it's a stage that we've pretty much given you for free, and we give you 30 seconds to promote yourself in front of millions of people.
Absolutely. And the format of, at least
correct,
particularly the Bassmaster Series, college series, it's a multi-day event. You get a couple days of practice on a multi-day event on bodies of water you've never been to. If you have any prospects of moving up and fishing bigger level tournaments, that's what it is. So you get to experience that without paying a $2,000 entry fee or a $5,000 entry fee.
Yeah.
So it's pretty good. So I've had some good tournaments this year in the BFL side. I was fortunate to cash some checks in a number of those. And then college fishing didn't cash checks, but I had some decent events, and I was thankful for that too.
All right, let's slam the lows real quick. Because like I said, I mean, what would you, looking back on the year, thing about now is like, is there one that got away that you're like, that shouldn't have happened?
Oh, for sure. Like, and that was, there's always one. It's unfortunate. We're always negative. There's always one, but this year it was more noticeable. Sometimes those mediocre events are the most difficult to assess afterwards because you're like, I kind of did it right. But when you just utterly fail, you just know it. It's like, there's no getting around. It's like, whatever I did, that's not what I should have done. Everything about that should not have happened. Mediocre events are kind of hard. So there was really one event this year that, like, I had some, mediocre finishes where I'm like, I could have done better, but it's hard. It's, a lot of those times the difference between a mediocre and a good can be, small, but when you do badly, it's noticeable. So the one that was noticeable to me, I fished a BFL on Lake Champlain, and I finished, I don't know, in the 80s or something, which actually, I mean, there were like 180 people in the tournament. So like,
oh, wow,
it wasn't crazy, but it was one of those tournaments where I tried this year. That was one thing I took away from this year, as far as, maybe I'm jumping ahead and just learning.
No, but go ahead.
Yeah. I really tried to this year focus on the mental aspect of the game and enjoy in that, trying to combine what it means to enjoy each tournament, enjoy each moment. But so much of I wanted to just let things happen. In 2021, I fished a bunch of tournaments, and I had a couple highs again, but I had a lot more lows than I had previously had in other years. Like a lot of tournaments where I wasn't even close. And really a lot of it was mental, where I always was thinking about the next spot. I was always thinking about the next cast, wasn't even focusing on the cast that I had made. Yeah. And that just ate me up. So I tried to avoid that at all costs this year and make a concerted effort to say, it's ironic. It takes a concerted effort to make it happen, but the process involves kind of letting go, at least for me, just kind of like letting the day happen as it will, and not trying to force things. But it takes effort to do that. So Champlain, I fished a BFL, and it was one of those. I think it might have even mentioned this. We talked about this earlier. Fishing the BFLs, I fished the Northeast Division this year. I haven't fished the Northeast ever, so I'd fished some of the lakes on there. Some of them I hadn't, but just between work and college and other things, I didn't get a lot of practice for these events. Most of them, I either got no practice or just a couple hours the day before. Yeah. So, but all that being said, the one event that I got to practice for was Champlain. I practiced 3 days, 3 freaking days.
I remember we did talk about this. Yeah.
Yep. And it's just amazing how much, at least for me, that tends to be I just have too many wheels turning at that point.
Right.
Because you've had bites on every end of the lake, and you just want to fish it all. And when something isn't working, you have so many places your mind can go. Yeah. And that tournament, I felt it unlike I've ever felt it before, where I knew within an hour or two that I was spinning, and I just felt like I didn't know how to get out of it. I knew what I was doing was wrong, and I knew, but I felt like I couldn't get out of it. I just felt always thinking about the next place, always thinking about the next cast, but never focused on the cast at hand. And my co-angler that day kicked my butt. He freaking smoked me. We ran all over the lake, and he always caught one. And of course, that doesn't help. But what it shows you is that it almost doesn't matter. Like, especially on good bodies of water, there's always some fish around.
Oh, yeah.
It's your job to just figure out, calm down. If you settle down enough to focus and keep your eyes open to what's happening, you can figure out how to get some bites. And he did, because he had nothing to lose. But for me, it was always, let's go to another spot. Let's try another bait. When really, it just got away from me. So I tried to just let go of that, the rest of the year. Just even tournaments where, even if it doesn't work out the way you hope, as long as you just feel like, for me, as long as I've just let the days come to me, fish with an open mind, then I can rest easy at night. And so that was one where I didn't. And so if I could have that one back, obviously I would have done anything different. Like I would have picked, I don't care what I would have done. Maybe I should have just gone to one area and just say, I'm not leaving, or something. But really, just as long as it almost doesn't matter what decision I would have made, if I had made it with the right mindset, I think it would have been all right. So that's one hurt me, because I finished 4th in Angler of the Year. And really, if I just caught one 3 or 4 pounder that day, I would have won the points. So it's
holy cow.
It's like, that's how narrow that kind of stuff is.
That's all. Wow. That's awesome, dude. We kind of, you talk about that, and it's like when there's money on the line, and, we were just bringing up sponsors earlier, me and Geek were, and, that whole mental aspect, you take away the fishing, then I need to cash a check. Then you get into a lot of people say that, the consistent, they had a great year because they cashed a check in every event. Didn't matter what the check was, but they cashed a check. And that's a lot of people's goals is, that's everybody's goal. It should be everybody's goal. Especially when you're doing it at the level that you're doing it, Jack.
Well, I always think, that consistency leads to wins. And you have to learn to be consistent. You have to learn to be in the mindset that Jack just explained. And I think then that's when you always hear it. Everybody that tells you, when it's your day, it's just your day. And I think that just comes from being consistent, being in the right mindset as much as you possibly can, putting yourself into that window of it being your day.
We had Bill Lowen on this year, and I love Dollar Bill Lowen. I've always have met his family. I know his family, his wife. I met him. I don't really know him personally, but I've met him. And you're talking about one of the most upbeat guys out there in the world, and it's been like this. But when it was his day, it was his day. But it's just a nice guy. Yeah, and he needed that win. After, he's cashed checks, but he's never, this year, it was 2 years ago. I think it was 2 years ago when he won on the river.
I think it was on Pickwick. Yeah. But that was the reason everyone wanted him to win, is because really throughout his career, as far as I know, Bill is that guy who is always standing in the check line. Yeah. And you say, that's why people were like, how has he not won? He's put himself in that position enough. So to see him finally, sometimes it takes longer. And that's the interesting thing in fishing, it's hard. It's hard to quantify. Like, we could say, oh, if you're consistent enough, you'll win. Yeah. But then you look at a guy like Gerald Swindle.
Yes.
That dude has won 2 Angler of the Years at the highest level, and he's never won an Elite Series.
Yeah.
It's like, you think he's got to. And he's won tour events, and he's won opens. Like, he's not like he hasn't won. Yeah. But still, I think not as much as people expect him to win, with how much how consistently he has pushed himself in that position. Yeah.
So guys, I've had Bassmaster anglers here. I've had Major League they're Major League Fishing past FLW, still living in a truck, men and women. It's not the glory and the glitz that everybody thinks it is. And, you guys saw, hopefully, I know a lot of you guys, because I looked at the numbers, a lot of people watched the last podcast when you were in the truck. So, and I don't know if you slept out of the back of the truck the whole time, but I know this year the van will be slept out of a whole lot by Brian Carter. So, the Forerunner, that is. So please don't knock. I'll be asleep. But yeah,
same here.
but yeah, so I mean, it's being consistent and putting yourself in the right place and putting in the work. I mean, we hear, Jack, we hear that here all the time. I mean, I don't want to fish against this person, but that person's on the lake every other weekend or every weekend. So I mean, it's the whole thing of being consistent, putting in the work, and hard work pays off. Me and Geek brought that up earlier. I mean, we were talking about that in the YouTube land. I mean, it's so many people come over in my house that I want to shoot a video. I want to write a story. I want to show a sponsor I can write. You know how many stories you got to write for your Don Barone? I mean, before people start throwing stuff at you.
Yes.
How many videos for Geek? How many years before I was recognized? I mean, you're talking like it took me about 6-7 years before everybody thought I was this little dumb little website down in Virginia. And I went to the Bassmaster Classic, and I think that's making that investment like you're making, fishing the bigger events. And when I made that investment, rode as a driver, I rode 8 hours to the Bassmaster Classic and introduced myself to everybody freaking down there. It just like boom. So I mean, it's putting in the work.
Yeah, I admire both of you. You've done it in our industry in different ways, but both of you, you both know how it's something I've experienced. You experienced in tournament fishing too. You just gotta, if you have a bad one, you just go to the next tournament. Your video doesn't perform, you post another one on your schedule again. You post another article.
Yeah, I've always said it. We've actually got to interview him twice now, and I've actually got to talk to the OG of YouTube. YouTube fishing, the Fluke Master.
Yes, we had him on last week.
Yeah, one of the things that he said to me was learn to love the grind. And you really have to. Number one, you have to love the sport to do what Jack's doing, especially, we'll talk about this in a minute, what Jack says he's going to do next year. But, and I would love to be right there with him, but I'm going to jump back in. I finally got getting a new boat on the way here the first of the year. So
awesome.
I'm going to do some, I'm jumping in the mountain division, fingers crossed, the BFLs.
Cool. Yeah.
So, and, but you got to love to learn the grind. And, there's so many things for guys that are wanting to fish tournaments. And Jack said it, there's so many things that can spin you out. And when you get inside your own head, it is the worst place to be when you're fishing. Like Jack said, and I'll tell you, you spin me out all the time. You'd hear all these guys, man, there's a lot of people that win practice.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
They're sending pictures. Man, look, I'm 20-pound bag on practice. You got to ignore that. I do not, before the tournament, any information that's coming out is garbage. Ignore it. Stay away from it. That is the biggest thing. Whatever small group of trusted people you have, you trust those and nobody else. And most of the time that's like 1 to 3 if you're lucky.
Right.
But there's so many things that can spin you out. Don't let it be somebody else. So
there you go.
That
positive mental attitude.
It is so much easier said than done.
Yes. So looking back on last year, what's your takeaway that might help you into 2023? We always used to bring it up in a lot of podcasts. And what did you learn from 2022 that can help carry you into next year? In the PMA category, the positive mental attitude.
Oh, man, it's so. I wish I could I can't. The problem is I don't think I could quantify the things that into like a simple. Catchy, Facebook post, inspirational post comment of just like,
tweet.
Yes, you can't. And I think that's what makes bass fishing so special.
Yeah.
Or anything that you compete at a high level or attempt to is that there's so many factors. I guess this is really why I think fishing is there's so many factors that it's hard to boil it all down into, just do this or just, Ike and Ellie's famous for saying, fish the moment. And that's true. But and all the advice that you're going to get from different anglers, the biggest thing is you have to make it your own. And that's what experience, like doing it over and over again, does. So I'm not an expert angler by any means. Those guys are far and above skill level of what I am. So, but for me to be the best angler I can be, I have to trust the process by practicing what they preach and then making it my own. And so for me, you know, what I hope to take into 2023 that I really focused on 2022 was just putting myself in a good headspace and holding that in the tournament, and it's not necessarily a positive headspace. It's not just positively believing, oh yeah, I'm going to do well. If anything, for me, that's almost puts an expectation that puts pressure. If anything, I just say, I've prepared. I've fished my whole life. I do everything I can to prepare for any moment, any scenario in a tournament. And so all I can do is just go out there and let the day come to me. Let it come to me. And that's the biggest thing for me that I really felt like I got a better handle of this year, and saw that compared to in 2021, I fished a lot of tournaments where I did not. I fished a lot of local, even especially locally, places where I fished tournaments, BFLs on local lakes where I fished for years, and practice became this kind of running around checking. Oh yeah, I caught him on this dock. I caught one on this dock. Let me check it. And you pull up and you shake one off. And then you say, well, I went out the river and I'll check that log, and you shake one off. And then tournament day, you're like, well, let's just go do it. And you run to the log and he's not there. And you run to the dock and he's not there. And you're not fishing at that point. You're running, and all you're doing is running a checklist. And that's just not how I fish well. And so for me, it's the contrast of this year of just, especially it helped to not have practice, to just say, take one clue, just try to grab one clue and believe, you know, based on now, take that, instead of letting that experience hurt you, of making you do certain things, take that experience as confidence that if I have the right clue, I've seen in all these scenarios that I can extrapolate that into a successful tournament.
Yes.
So that's
awesome,
all I
dude.
tried to do every time.
Dude, that's awesome, man. He's like a pastor right here, a bass fishing freaking pastor right here. I mean, it's like,
I'll give it an
it, brother, man. I mean,
it's true, man.
That's some good stuff,
it's a great way to put it. You're right. I don't think anybody could say it any better.
That's again, awesome, that's just my experience. And there's lots, and like, again, I'm not, it's not a guarantee that, oh, if I do this, I'll be a great tournament angler. I mean, there's like, that's the other side of it, is like, we can talk and say, you know, if you put in the work, you dream, there is that level of which maybe sometimes we sell people wrong. And that's why, again, I want to bring up that there's lows, is that not everybody's Jordan Lee, not everyone's Jacob Wheeler. Like, it's like, some people just have another level that there's a reason, there's things that they have that you can't just outwork them to get it. You can't, so for me, it's about just being the best angler I can be, best fisherman I can be.
There you go.
See where that ends up.
That's even what it says on all my social media. Come along on my journey as I try to become the best angler I can be. That's awesome. Literally what it's about. Don't worry about what everybody else is doing. Just go through your process and be the best you can be.
That's literally all you can do.
That's all you can do.
You don't have if you'll never reach, if you're just not going to be able to reach that status, there's nothing you can do to, like, there's some people.
I mean, you can only beat it so long, man. You can only, I mean, you know, it's like what Gary Vaynerchuk, some of you don't have it. Mm-hmm. I mean, we all, we see it all the time, like at the end of the year for the Bassmaster Elites, big boy up on stage always says, some of you I'll see next year. Some of you I won't see next year. Some of you are going to go to a different direction. And, a lot of them, NPFL, Major League Fishing, I mean, go in different directions. So, I mean.
And that's okay. That's the other thing. Like, that's okay. Like,
absolutely.
That's why the reframing it to just be the best you can be.
Yeah.
That's all you can do. And if you do that, there's less fear. Because it's not, will I hold up to some immeasurable standard? It's let's just see what I can do. Now it's a challenge. Now it's a mountain that you can climb.
That's absolutely true. I mean, like I said, I couldn't say it any better.
We should just end the podcast right here. That's pretty awesome.
My drop.
All right. We're going to move on because we could, I love the positive. I love that, I'll be honest with you guys. I listen to a lot of podcasts and none of them are bass fishing. Business, motivational. I listen to another motivational speaker. So I mean, I listen to a lot of different stuff because, if I get enough bass fishing, I mean, it's coming from all directions right here. So you guys seen them. I was going to bring this up earlier. Football players, basketball players, they all listen to music before they go out there and play. There's something clearing their mind completely before they go out there and, play the sport that they're playing, because you are putting it all on the line. And, I used to play tennis, and tennis, same as bass fishing, like, tennis, you pay to play and then you win the purse. I mean, it's the same way. It's not like football or basketball or baseball. They pay you. You pay to play tennis. Even the professionals pay to play tennis. And I used to play a lot of tennis, and, it was where, you have to get into that correct mindset before you go out there. And it doesn't matter who you play against or where you play against. It's just being, in that positive mental attitude the whole entire time. So, and like you said, it's sometimes hard to do.
For sure.
Let's dive into Yamamoto, guys. Last time we had him on, he's talking about the deal he had done with them and how he was working with Yamamoto baits. And we got the Yama Craw. You guys have seen the videos are all out. You didn't put one on YouTube, did you?
I didn't know, but
okay,
we did on Yamamoto baits.
I think a couple of different anglers did one, but he's got the bait with him tonight, and we're gonna let him talk about it, why it was created, dive into it. And I like the pretty packaging a lot of different people have gone to now. I don't want to mention none of those other people's names or anything like that, because some of you guys hate them, but that's not the point. But we all love Yamamoto baits. I mean, you can't go bad with Gary Yamamoto. I mean, can we still say Gary Yamamoto anymore? Or is it Yamamoto? I mean,
the official name is Yamamoto, but Gary will always be tied to that brand. I mean, it's his baby. It's
the godfather.
He's the godfather of this. So for branding's sake, we'll say Yamamoto, but we'll always put Gary. Gary will always be there.
All right, talk about it, brother.
So it's been really cool. So for me, it's been a kind of a transition for me. I've gotten to now work for GSM Outdoors, which is the company that we own several fishing brands now. I work in the fishing side. We own Yamamoto, we own Bill Lewis, Buckeye, and Steel Shad. And so the Yama Craw, this bait that we just launched here, is one of the first baits that I got to kind of see more of the process of. We launched a number of baits at ICAST, and I got to see a little bit of that, but this one more so, like, I was sent prototypes on different formulas, different, we tried like different ways of like making part of the bait one formula, part of the bait another, how would that affect the action? And it was so getting to be on the inside for the first time for me was really, really exciting. Like to just watch how it's done. And it was also interesting for me to hear the mindset. So I heard it said by one of our guys, Wes Higgins, who's our brand manager at GSM. And he's run Bill Lewis lures for years, the Rattle Trap. He says, from my understanding, there's 3 reasons you come to market with a product. You either have something just brand new, totally unique, never been done before that needs to be out there. There's a proven concept in the industry and you just think you can build it for less, that you can offer it to the average person for a better price point. Or there's a proven, technology. In this case, it would be a bait design or shape or action that is a successful bait design, but we think we can do a little better. And so that's going to be different for every brand. It's going to be different for every product launch. So for us here at Yamamoto, we are unapologetically the premium brand. We're never going to try to be the person that builds it for less because, and that's really cool. I also have had been fortunate enough to go to the factory, meet the employees here in US. We're one of the bigger soft plastic manufacturers in the US that does it here. And the processes that we do to get the Cinco to do that perfect shimmy, it is time. It really takes up a lot of time and work. So that translates to cost. But we're never, I mean, this was something that mattered a lot to me. because I've worked with Yamamoto before working with them at GSM before GSM acquired them. And I said, if you're going to, my first hesitation was like, you better not change anything.
Yeah, never.
Formula.
Yeah.
I can't stand with that as an angler.
Yeah.
And so it's been very encouraging for me to work alongside Wes and our head VP of fishing, Crispin Powley, who was actually the head product designer for Strike King for years and years.
Wow.
So he has done tons of bait design. He's been in the industry for years. And so they're fishermen. Like they get it. So they're like, of course, we throw Senkos. We're not going to mess with it. And so anyway, at every step of the way, we want our baits to be premium. And that includes the formulas, getting the formulas just right to each bait to do what we need it to do. So this bait, so going back to like why you build a bait, this, like there's a lot of craw baits on the market that flap and kick, but we just thought we could do a few things different that would make it better. So the biggest thing in this bait, it's a 4-inch bait. It's got a good solid thicker body. It's not too thick where it's, you're not going to get hook penetration. We actually have this step down here. So you can, if your hook point, where the hook point's coming through, it's a little less plastic than the above section where your hook might hold if you were flipping this bait. So that's important for hookup ratios. But the biggest difference with this bait from a lot of baits on the market is it has our mega floater formula in it. So what that means, when you put this on a jig or a shaky head, when you stop the bait, the whole thing just the claws just float up, come up,
nice,
just like a crawfish does in a defensive position. And that, for me testing, there were times where I noticed that I wouldn't feel the bite. And my theory is that like a lot of times, if you've ever watched bass footage underwater, like them eating a jerk bait or something, it's when that bait first moves after it's been still that triggers a strike. Yeah. And so when you're fishing like a jig on the bottom, which is one of the primary ways that I've fished this bait, prototyping it, you're dragging a jig. A lot of times it'll get stuck on a rock and you go to pull it off, and that's when he bites it. And so you kind of, your line's kind of taut. So you generally, for me, I feel those bites. But I realized with this bait, I wasn't feeling them. And I legitimately think what happens is I'm dragging that jig along the bottom and I go to stop it. And when I stop it, the claws just suddenly float up. And that's the triggering moment. So now I'm on the slack. I'm reeling up to pull it again when they bite it. When before, normally I'm pulling it and they bite it because that's the trigger. But now with the floating formula,
just that little subtle,
subtle is the trigger. And it's been I've caught some good fish on it.
And that is a crawl seeing the bass there going in the defensive position. Absolutely. I'd say you're exactly right.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's the biggest difference maker, that again, getting the formula just right was key to get that happening. And we have a little bit different design. We've got a 3-flange design, so it swims a little different than other offerings. It's not quite, to me, there's 2 types of craws. There's like a kicking that's a very much a straight up and down. And then there's more of a swimming where it kind of flows. And because of just the angle of these different flanges that we've worked on the ends, you can see it's 3 different ones, but I see it. The way they're angled, you almost get a little bit of water to pass through, which means that it's not quite a hard straight up and down kick, but it's not like some craws where the craws that don't use a flange, they tend to just flow. So this is kind of in between. So actually fishing it, it's a little bit different action. It kicks, so you still feel a thump, but I would consider it like the flat-sided crankbait of a craw. It doesn't, it's kind of tighter. And really, with the way how pressured fisheries are now, I personally really liked it, fishing it. And again, that's why I'm excited, because they sent me prototypes, and I knew I was throwing something no one else on the lake had, and they just bit it. So I was I was excited that we launched it, but also do we have to launch it?
Yeah,
it's out there?
Yeah. Dude, we gotta show this, guys. Come on, can I get like 6 more months? Come on.
Yeah, just let me fish. Let me fish a few tournaments, and then we'll let it out. So,
do you know the price and how many we get in a box?
You're gonna get 6 in a pack. It obviously depends on the retailer. I believe on our website we have them at $7.99 right now.
Okay,
which is kind of our standard across the board Yamamoto price point. So.
And you guys all see they changed it. They changed their they put it in the nice little plastic container.
Yeah, that was, again, we put it in the clamshell, And
a lot of people go into the clamshell.
That's just a really, from an angler's perspective, that's essential when you're dealing with baits that have either a flange or a certain, like, a curly tail or something that that the shape of that tail or claw makes the difference in having the correct action.
Yeah.
When you throw that in a plastic bag, you're just you're throwing that to the lottery of whether your bait's going to be good or not. Again,
you're getting
Yamamoto,
one out. They kind of look like that.
Yeah, some will come like that. Some will, they're all, I mean, maybe deformed crawfish, maybe that works, but I'd rather have it
I guess
swim.
it's something different.
Yeah, something different, but I'd rather be in control of that. So
as you were testing the product itself, how many casts were you seeing you were getting with it? How many were you able to catch multiple fish on it before you had to replace and go to another one? What was some of the feedback that you were receiving yourself as you were using the product? Because, a lot of people talk about that. Our Cinco will last you all day. And, so what was some of the things that you were learning yourself as you were using it?
Well, again, so for me as an angler and as part of what we do, as part of what we believe our brand stands for at Yamamoto is our number one priority is to make sure your bait gets bit. And so that means first and foremost, action is to me the biggest trigger. I mean, obviously getting the colors right. We've got a whole range of colors. We got tonight 20 colors now. And I'm sure there'll be more, because as soon as they came out, of course, people were like, wait, where's this color? Where's this color? So trust me, we will have more. If you go buy the ones we have, I can guarantee you we'll make more.
There you go.
So the action is first. So really, that was what we needed. And we built the floater formula, but then when we did that, we had to do different renditions of how soft that is. If you go too soft, it acts like a gummy bear or like one of those child's toys. We made some prototype, and I don't know if you guys are old enough. There was a toy that I used to have where it was like a gummy hand, like you pull it and it sticks to everything. It was just like that. It was like sticking to everything. Like, this ain't it. But so the nice thing about the floater formula is that it not only did we get the consistency right to get the right amount of kick, so it's enough to be a vibration, but not wild and crazy, just right there where we wanted it to be putting off the right vibration, but also floating. That was kind of the biggest trick in getting this bait right. But for you as anglers, the fortunate thing is that this formula is a lot tougher than your traditional Senko's salted formula. I mean, it's not when I was putting this on the back of a jig, I mean, I would pretty much just leave it on there and catch a number. Like, I can't remember. I should have done the clicker count.
Clicker.
Again, I just wanted it to get bit. Yeah. And that was the biggest thing. But it's way more durable than a Senko, especially if you're threading it on a jig. This will last a good number of fish. Of course, I can't give you a guarantee.
We understand that, but with some, something, you've actually had the prototypes and you've actually used it a little bit, and you've actually had the opportunity to use it before the rest of us will.
I will say I put it on a jig.
We might get a pack.
I didn't take it off for like 3 or 4 trips and caught fish almost every time. Like, I didn't have to put a new one on.
That's awesome.
Well, the floating plastic generally tends to be a lot more durable. So
it does,
Well, we brought up jig fishing. You guys all know winter's around the corner. We all know my friend Ben Hudson and Derek Hudson. It's the only thing they use. They live and die by it. I love them to death. But, we were talking about different sizes. We got the football head. You got the round head. You got many different heads. What were you throwing that bait on? And, what was you finding your success of you lining the bait up a quarter, eighth, to get that right fall that you wanted in that bait?
The fall rate is always a really critical factor in triggering strikes, for sure. But that's, again, it's so situational. So like, there are days where that slow fall is just the deal. Going to a lighter jig, slower fall rate can be the deal, especially places like docks. That's where you skip that jig under the dock. Some days, when they're aggressive or when you're trying to get a reaction strike, I'll throw a half or a 5/8 ounce jig and I'll cut the skirt out so it's almost nothing there. So it's just straight weight, just triggering strikes. So, but in the winter for me, generally, life is slowing down, everything's slowing down. So I tend to slow down too. And so actually the other day I went out and I was catching some on a jig the other day, but I was fishing in about 15 to 20 foot of water. So relatively deep, but I was throwing our ball and out jig from Buckeye. And but I threw a 3/8 ounce jig. And so that lighter jig really, for me, it just made me have to slow down because to keep bottom contact, that lighter jig, you can't pull it too fast. No. And so it just really forced me to, because I don't like to slow down if I can help it. So
me neither.
So really, I just it just made me have to slow down. But that being said, if there's times where even in the winter, I just, I'm like you guys, I'm always on the different media outlets. I'm on social media. I'm on the basscast.com reading different tips. And I saw a video on social media of Brandon Lester talking about throwing a heavier jig sometimes, where if your bites are coming on the bottom, which a lot of times they do in the winter, if you're trying to, especially when you're trying to find them, he really advocated for sometimes you just go to a heavier jig and you're just more efficient. If they're all stuck to the bottom, which a lot of times they get that way in the winter, that heavier jig just gets to where they live faster. So there's a time and a place. The spot I was fishing with the 3/8, I knew they were there. Like I'd graphed over them, they're there. So now it's about triggering the strike. And generally speaking, if I'm trying to fish it slow and trying to coax one into biting, which in the winter, their metabolism's slow. I want it to just sit there long enough that they just go, well, I can't help but bite it.
Yeah.
I went to that lighter jig. So, but again, there's bass fishing. Unfortunately, I wish it was 1-to-1. I really wish they would read the textbook and tell, that this equals always this. Because there's always going to be times where you might say the light jig's got to be the way to go, and they won't touch it.
Yeah.
So
I agree with that. That's, there's even tricks that I do, like I won't, if I'm fishing in the wintertime, if I'm fishing a heavier jig, like I'll throw 3/4. And a lot of times if I'm throwing that heavy and I'm out deep, number one, I'm already in that, 25 to 50 feet, depending on where I'm at. But, even then, like I won't trim skirts. Because I want that skirt to be, I don't want it to flare as much. I want it to lay down. I want it to be, just less movement, And that's if I'm fishing for largemouth. If I'm fishing predominantly for largemouth, a lot of times that's what I'm doing. Smallmouth during the wintertime, live in rubber so that it is just moving just so subtly. A lot of times can really get those bites. And then, I did a video that should be out here in the next few weeks, and I was talking about different types of rock. And I come across a pattern a few years ago where you can find this time of year, those flat rocks that do get a lot of sun, and there's a little bit of dirt between them. You're not looking for riprap and this sort of stuff, but you're looking for that steeper bank that has this rock. To where the crayfish, the crawdads can burrow, they'll hide under rocks, but they like to burrow into the earth. And I even had a guy send me a text the other day, and he's like, man, I won a tournament on that exact pattern you told me about last year.
That's awesome.
And, depending on the bass, a lot of times, you can go back and forth between the different sizes of jigs in that and see what you can get. So it's I'm not going to spoil anything. Just watch the video.
There you go. Spoken like a true YouTuber.
There you go.
So
gotta get that plug in there.
So guys, make sure you watch Discount Tackle and Tackle Warehouse as well for the new Yama Craw by Yamamoto baits. And like I said, so you can support me or Geek either way, but make sure you pick up some. They are out already, aren't they? I think I did see them on Tackle Warehouse, aren't they?
Yeah, Tackle Warehouse, they've got them set up for pre-order. I think there should be shipping from our warehouse to Tackle Warehouse this week. So
nice.
That's what I thought. I thought I saw them on there because I did look it up. So all right, so guys, make sure you get that in. Like I said, wintertime bass fishing, the jig. A lot of people love it. I mean, a lot of people will put it in their hand and won't drop it all day long. I mean, it's one of those they might have, 3 different setups, 4 different setups, but
yeah,
some people live and die by it because we've all heard it. You're not going to catch a lot, but you're going to catch the big ones.
Yeah. You want to talk about mindset. That's another, this is winter time is one where you do have to kind of reassess what you're looking for in the winter.
Oh yeah.
If you go out looking for, I would like to catch 100 fish today, you're usually going to be sorely disappointed. So, but if you go with the mindset of I could catch the biggest bass of my life today, that really can change the whole game. And that's why locking, a lot of times, if the fish metabolism is slow, you talked about that living rubber at Buckeye, we have the mop jig. That's really starts to get really popular. Just a big living rubber skirt. It doesn't move. It moves, but it's not that kind of jumpy, like a silicone skirt. And when you're in the wintertime, a bigger jig, like what you're talking about, that's if you're saying I'm going to go for the one big bite, that's a great way to get it.
Awesome.
And it's a great way, like I said, throw that 3/4. A lot of times, even if you're graphing an area, it's got a little bit of rock, a little bit of mud mixed in there. You're not always going to see those bass on that graph. But if you've got a little rock vein on a shoal or a point, a lot of times I'll throw out there. Or if I see one, I go across it, I call it the tattletale bass. He'll be one up there all by himself around some rock. And I'm like, okay, let's see if there's 4 more there. You throw that in there and you can drag it and just let it sit there and let that skirt. And the good thing about it is deeper. You can drag that. You may only get a bite, but then you can come back. Like with smallmouth are notorious about weight. As soon as you'll feel them hit it, and that's most of the time them spitting it back out because they hate it. If you're throwing a weight that's too much, they'll spit it. I mean, as quick as they pick it up. And so you'll downsize to a lighter jig and you'll start getting slammed. But a big jig can be a great search bait is basically what I'm taking the long road about saying.
Yes.
That's funny. So you talk about that. That's where the spot I was fishing had largemouth and smallmouth on it, where I was throwing the 3/8, and I was actually cutting down. I was cutting off the top. Yeah. So I was making it a really small, really light jig. Yeah. So even though it was, 3/8 ounce, it also had less skirt material to jump around.
Right.
And it also didn't slow the fall down. So it got down there and you could still keep it down there, but it doesn't have as much movement from a bigger skirt. And I go to a subtler trailer, I don't know what you like to do.
Yeah.
I like to usually like that, our Yama Craw. There's some guys who just always throw this and that's good for them. But a lot of times I'll go to either a chunk or just like a twin tail grub, just something very subtle. And that
going back to that Yama Craw, the one thing I'm looking at that is, we got a little drinking game on my live streams when we talk about girthy baits. That's got some girth to it. And what I like about that right there, the girth in the tail of that, is that when you shove that up there against that skirt, it's really going to force that skirt to plume out too. And so that on the ledges in the summer, hoo-ha, that's going to be a money winner.
Yep. Well, I'll just say our VP Crispin Powley, who was the bait designer for Strike King, he lives on Kentucky Lake. So
there you
let's
go.
Just say he was out looking for some certain things.
There you go.
Building a craw.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
All right. So hopefully you guys got some bits and techniques and some information out of that. Hopefully something to help you this winter. I know here we're about to wrap up here, but I think I know some other little series and events that are happening up on Smith Mountain Lake. So take some of these winter tips and use them. Head on over to thebasscast.com. I know there's 4 stories up there, different opinions, different looks. Some of them are the same. There's a little variations of, everybody's take on what they enjoy throwing on the winter time. So we got a few minutes left and we're going to talk about 2023. Guys, there's 3 weeks left. 2?
Wow.
Is it 2, 3?
That's
what
crazy,
is it?
actually.
I don't.
That
3 weeks
insane.
left in
Let's see,
2022. I mean,
it's the 7th. So
Yeah.
Where did it all go? Holy cow! Where did it all go? So
I'd like to ask you.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I'll be honest. I thought last year was crazy, but this 2023, I might not be home till summertime. So, I mean, it's, I'm home, guys, during the week. But, I mean, it's like when Saturday, Sunday gone, Saturday, Sunday gone, Saturday, Sunday gone, because the schedule's already filling up. I mean, we were talking about earlier, I got an open house to go to. The week after that's an English Choice open house to go to. We got the Richmond Fishing Expo, Bassmaster Classic, and then the tournament series starts. Trails all begin in March. I mean, it's boom, boom, boom. We might have like a week or two off in between, but then it's back to the mindset again and kind of rethinking everything. But what's your plans for 2023, brother?
So for me, I'm graduated from college. So I fished 3 years of college fishing. I didn't do it the full 4 years, but I did 3 years of it, and I fished BFLs for years, and I fished, AAA Toyota Series as a co-angler. So like, I feel like I've hit all of those levels. So for me, the next progression was to jump up to fishing in the front of the boat in the AAA series. So 2023, I'm going to be facing the gauntlet. I'm tossing in my hat in the ring to fish all 9 Bassmaster Opens. So
wow.
It's gonna, like, you talk about being away from home. It's gonna be a while. It's gonna be a big schedule, but I'm really excited. I've always wanted to do this. So really, it's a huge thanks to the people that support me, the guys at GSM for letting me do this.
That's awesome.
It's we talked earlier about, that guys are fishing to cash checks because and it's, the sleeping in your truck. And of course I'll be doing all that, but like, even to get there, you have to have some level of support. And so I'm very blessed to be in this position where GSM is letting me use it as an opportunity to promote their brands, promote their products even more, and work with them and use it as almost research and development. Is kind of like their excuse to let me go fish a bunch of tournaments. But I'm very thankful. Whatever the excuse is, I'm just like, yeah, sure. Whatever you want it to be, we can make it that.
So will the truck and boat be wrapped?
Yeah, it should be. It should be
awesome.
Ooh. So that'll be cool too, because it's been, that was the dream when I was 11 or 12, like, wow, all these wrap boats and trucks, and I never could imagine. So obviously it's it's not the elite series, but for me it's the next step, and I'm super
that's
excited.
Awesome, dude.
It's a big deal, man, especially be able to fish all 9 of them. Whew.
Yeah, really, that's the only way I would ever do it, to be honest. Like, I love the traveling. I love fishing new bodies of water. I love stringing together a series. I love, looking at it from a bigger picture, because again, it's hard to win when you look at it, so small, but if you can just stay consistent and keep chipping away at it, hopefully we can make a year of it, and I have no idea. I'm sure there's huge learning curve there. A lot of things, you never know what to expect, but I feel like I've prepared myself. I've done everything I can do at these levels, and so it's only the next natural step. So,
all right,
on the ladder.
So congratulations on that. We look forward to following you. And the question is, tell everybody out there how they can follow you to follow your journey in 2023.
I'm obsessed fishing, always have been. Bass Geek, you remember the OG on YouTube?
I've been a follower for a long, long time, man.
So obsessed fishing on everything: Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, YouTube. Instagram's probably, if you want to just get updates of what I'm up to and just see a lot of fish pictures. If you're gonna get him on fish pictures.
Listen, once you're, I know I'm older, but once you're a famous elite pro, and just go ahead and hire me. I'll do my channel on the side. Hire me to be your travel camera guy and editor, and I can edit better than what you've seen. It's hard to be your own camera guy. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. I know that.
YOLO tech stick, he's just a skinny guy. He don't get around real good. He's got arthritis. He don't move.
Mm-hmm.
I got the drones. I got everything, man.
That's awesome.
I just can't afford to pay a guy to fly them while I'm going down the lake. And I've tried it, and your butt puckers when you about lose a $1,500 drone into a bluff wall.
Yeah. I've flown a couple of people's drones who said, "Hey, why don't you learn how to fly it?" And I'm just like, oh gosh, I don't know. With that much money just flying around in the air.
That's crazy.
It's hard to handle.
Yeah, so when you become that mega elite pro, you holler at me, and you can use me as a write off.
We're
There
gonna
we go. That sounds like a plan.
we're gonna get him on band as well, because I don't know if you've watched all our crazy crap here lately. We're trying to move away from Facebook here at the basscast.com as much as possible. So we've all joined band, and actually I just had another band group sign up that I'm affiliated with, and they're moving away from Facebook. So it's getting a little different up there in the wild, wild world.
Yeah.
Something we're not really wanting to be a part of, to be honest, but we still got a crap load of followers there, and we're going to stay there. But man, Jack, we appreciate you coming on. Thank you for being on the show tonight. We always love having you on. It's like we could have ended the show like 30 minutes ago, because it was pretty freaking awesome. So hopefully you guys that's a jam-packed good show. I mean, hopefully you guys get some. I learned a lot, so I mean, hopefully you guys learned a lot as well. And brother, thank you, and we look forward to watching your journey. And I know we'll see you eventually at some type of expo, because as he is with Yamamoto, we're gonna see him at some tables and some booths here pretty soon.
You will. Oh, you will. Come say hi. Hey, if you're gonna be at the Classic, I'll be there. So
hey, I'm gonna be there with Camus at the Classic, so I'll be there. You guys doing a booth at the Red Crest?
Yeah, I think we should be.
I'll be there
too with Camus. So
I'll be at Red. That's the thing. We got the Open down in Clarksville. We got the Red Crest. We got the Classic. We got 4 expos, and that's not counting the rest of everything happening right here between Bugs and Bugs and Smith Mountain Lake, and when I do make it up to Lake Anna. So I mean, first half of the year is going to be like a rush, guys. It's going to be like boom, 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 boom. Then it's like I cannot wait till June when it all slows down.
My schedule looks like, boom, 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 boom.
Yeah.
Maybe August less. Boom, boom, boom.
Yeah.
It's pretty full.
That's fine. March,
it's bass fishing.
Yeah.
So
I think between the Classic, the Red Crest, and the BFLs, I think I pretty much blew all my PTO on March.
Dang. All right, man. So... Guys, we're going to take a quick break, and we're going to be right back. All right, guys, we really appreciate Jack Dice for coming on and talking with us tonight. It's always a great show with him. It really was. This is like, I mean, it was like, I ain't gonna lie, an hour into this thing, we could have just ended it, but we appreciate you guys listening. Appreciate you coming back each and every week and listening to Basscast Radio. I appreciate, it's pretty cool. We're getting more and more new listeners, and it was cool going to a couple different events this past year, and a lot of you guys saying, I listen to you guys on Basscast Radio. And don't forget, we're on every podcasting platform that you have on your phone. I mean, if you got a Google phone or if you got an iPhone, you can listen to Basscast Radio. You don't need nothing else. I mean, there's a lot of other apps out there that you can listen to it through. But if you got a Google or iPhone, which is 99% of all the phones out there, you can listen to Basscast Radio. Also want to thank Wildland Coffee. There you guys go. You guys for watching, who are watching the video, check it out. This coffee will be in my carry-on, which I need to add some stuff to it. I picked up a cup I was looking for the other day. But it being my travel everywhere in 2023, and I'm not just saying that. I love coffee a lot. I'm addicted, like my mom. She was addicted to coffee and beating my ass. Both of them are the same, I think. But Basscast 10 is the code, guys. You get 10% off at wildlandcoffee.co. That's it. Head on over and order some today, and thank them for being a part of Basscast Radio. Like I said, we got a couple weeks left. We got the holidays. I had some guests lined up. I know things change throughout the holidays. Hopefully we'll find another. I think I got a guest lined up for next week already. I don't want to name it because I don't want to put this person on the spot. But if you got someone, if you would like to be on Basscast Radio, as always, man, you can go follow our group on Band Basscast Radio, or you can follow us on Facebook. It's up to you. Either way, it all will be there. But thank you guys for being a part of it. Thank you guys for listening. Thank you guys for fishing with us in 2022. Yeah, that's all I can say, man. Thank you guys. Thank Jack Dice for coming on and talking with us. And hopefully, like I said, next year he's going to do the whole 9 open events.
Yeah, we'll definitely be keeping up with him.
So we'll definitely be keeping up with him. We're definitely going to have him back on the show. He's a fan favorite. He really is. I looked at the numbers tonight, and you guys blow up his video and the podcast as well. So thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. Have a great week out there, everyone. Try to stay dry. I heard inclement weather next week, so please be safe.
Yeah,
the 14th I heard is like there's a band that West Virginia line again, ice. So it's getting into that time of the year, so everyone please stay safe if you're out there. We had Gene Jensen on last week and we talked about being safe in the kayak.
Oh yeah.
Make sure this time of the year, I mean, I don't, there's a lot of different life jackets out there. We got to wrap this bad boy up. A lot of different life jackets out there. Wear a full jacket this time of the year. Don't just wear that little one. I mean, you can wear the little one during the summer if you want to. That's up to you. But get you a good, comfortable, full life jacket. Because we got a lot of clothes on. And it don't take much. That little lap band life jacket you have,
yeah.
When you got 40 pounds of clothes on trying to stay warm, hand warmers in every pocket, foot warmers on.
I look like, the kid off of, the Christmas Story, when I'm out there.
Get a full life jacket. Save your life as always. And, what Bruce always just said, take a kid fishing. So thank you guys for listening. Thank you for watching. Have a great weekend, everyone. And we'll see you guys right back here next week.